This is part 5 of the 14 mistakes beginner to intermediate options traders make. Next is mistake number 11. It has to do with proper tax planning, and there is a simple fix for this. First, let me say that I'm not a tax accountant, and I strongly recommend you advise a tax accountant before taking any advice. Also, I'm going to be talking in general terms, and your specific tax situation may or may not be different. And as you may or may not know, when dealing with stocks and or options, there are basically two taxable categories you find yourself in. Number one is paying lower rates because you hold a position longer, and the second is paying higher rates because you hold a position for a shorter time frame. The longer term is holding over at 1 year and is paying a lower percentage rate, and it's called long-term capital gains. And the shorter term is holding a position less than a year, paying a higher tax percentage rate, and it's called short-term capital gains. Now, typically long-term capital gains are around 15%, and short-term capital gains are around 28%. At this point, it should be obvious that you would prefer to be taxed based on the lower long-term capital tax rate. Well, then you should hold your positions for over a year, right? What if I were to tell you that if you trade certain option products, you can get a special lower tax rate? If you trade the normal stocks or options on normal stocks like AAPL, SPY, or pretty much all of them, except a few special ones, and you hold less than a year, you're going to pay that larger 28% tax rate. And this is the norm. However, there's always tax loopholes, and they're typically set up for the rich. And there's a tax loophole for options traders. It is called the 1256 contract. And it is in section 1256 of the IRS code. The special options that fall into this IRS category are options traded on regulated futures contracts, foreign currency contracts, and non-equity options, such as index options. And one of those index options is the SPX. This is what I trade exclusively. Options on the SPX. So how it works is when you take profits, let's say that you make $100,000 in a year, you would normally pay 28% or $28,000 in taxes for short-term capital gains. But because I trade on the SPX, I only pay short-term capital gains or 28% on 40% of my gains. And I pay the lower 15% on 60% of my gains. So in this example, I would pay 28% on $40,000, which equals $11,200, and then only 15% on $60,000, which equals $9,000 in taxes. So this comes out to around 20% total tax rather than 28% total tax, for a savings of around $8,000 or almost 30% overall savings on the taxes. So to save almost 30% on your taxes, all you have to do is change the underlying you're using when you trade options. So mistake number 11 is overpaying on your taxes. Next, I will go over mistake number 12. Have you ever traded stocks, scalped, or traded options small in size with many different positions? How much time did you spend in front of your computer? Did you spend like 6.5 hours a day or more with your face in the screen? Do you believe that you're making a great sacrifice that will pay off someday with profits? A lot of people believe that if they put the time in, it'll pay off. How many people have made the huge sacrifice of hours and hours a day for years and still blow up their account. The number is countless, and it's unknown because we never hear about all of the failures. Well, it's not about screen time. It's about the quality of your trade structure and the trade plan around that structure. It's about executing a black and white trade plan that's been back tested and forward tested through time. It's about exploiting a known edge. Mistake number 12 is believing that you have an edge just because you've put the time in, or because you're in front of a computer screen all day. If there's no edge that can be proven and back tested with objective rules, then more time will not solve the problem. Mistake number 12 is expecting results because you're in front of a computer screen all day. Next is mistake number 13. This mistake has to do with choosing your instructor. Is your instructor qualified to teach you how to trade? Jim Schultz from Tasty Trade is an excellent instructor. He has a PhD. He's very intelligent. Does this qualify him to teach you? Would you rather learn from a Harvard PhD that loses money trading, or a guy that didn't even graduate high school but shows his P&L and is profitable? I will take the profitable guy that shows his trades and his portfolio every time. Just today I had a comment on one of my videos stating that following someone else's trades is not really trading. And I agree, but it is the first step. You should be able to follow your instructor step by step. You should be able to see his total portfolio. A trade here and there is not properly instructing, in my opinion. I need to see the trade size of the position in the portfolio. I want to see the allocation size, not just the trade structure. When I see a trade executed, I need to see the size of that trade in relation to the available capital in the portfolio. And with options, I need to see how margin is being used. I need to see how much that margin can expand and affect the portfolio. I need to see how the current positions in the portfolio would handle the worst case scenario like a crash. I don't want to hear my instructor say that he's just teaching me trade concept and his goal is not to trade his portfolio in the most optimal way in order to be profitable. If this is real money on the line, I want to see every stone unturned, every possible scenario tested, every worst case scenario planned for. I want to see my instructor trading in a real account right beside me. I should be able to execute the same trade he is executing with proper size, and I want to be profitable. I want his capital at risk at the same level that my capital is at risk. Too many alert services leave out one of the most important aspects of trading, which is sizing. They just throw up a trade and say, follow it. A real instructor, in my opinion, will trade and show his entire portfolio right in front of you. This is proof of credibility. Would you attempt to drive a car that was missing parts like a steering wheel and a couple wheels? The car is incomplete. If the instructor is not showing the entire portfolio, including P&L drawdowns in all positions, then the information being provided is incomplete. Why would you follow an instructor that only provides partial information? It's like trying to take the car with the missing parts out for a drive. So mistake number 13 is trusting an instructor that does not trade beside you and does not provide complete information. Now next is mistake number 14. And it's another one that has to do with finding a credible instructor. When you're getting ready to purchase an options trading course, what is the buying criteria that you're using? Do you have a list of questions that need to be answered before you give your hard-earned money away? Or do you just trust that you're going to get those big promised returns? Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. And how do you verify? You ask the right questions and you demand answers. What questions should be asked? Well, I've got a list of 16 questions here that you should ask, and they should be answered before you actually pay for an options trading course. Number 1, Can you share your P&L, your portfolio volatility, and the positions in the portfolio along with sizing, the size of each position? Number 2, what is your edge? Number 3, is your course proprietary? Number 4, what kind of returns should I expect? Number 5, is the system directional or does it depend on picking the right direction? Number 6, do you recommend buying option premium or placing low probability trades? Number 7, have you back tested and forward tested the system? What are the results? And did those results include commissions and slippage? Number 8, did you trade with objective rules, black and white rules? And what is the trade plan? Number 9, does your trade plan take into account commissions and slippage? Number 10, what is the highest margin requirement that your trade plan will allow? And number 11, do you show real trade execution with real money in a real account? Number 12, what's the lowest drawdown that you incurred in August of 2015, in February of 2018, in March of 2020, in the fourth quarter of 2018? How about the first 6 months of 2015? How does the system handle a bull market like 2017? Can you show back test or forward test results for the portfolio P&L during those time periods? Number 13, what is your money management plan? How much capital do you allocate per trade in percentage terms? Number 14, what underlyings do you like to trade? Are they tax advantaged? Number 15, do I need to be in front of my computer all day or most of the day in order to trade the system? And number 16, do you share all the trades made in your account as you trade them? In other words, do you trade right in front of me? Mistake number 14 for beginner to intermediate options traders is not asking the right questions when purchasing an options trading course. If you're interested on how to avoid the 14 mistakes that beginner to intermediate options traders make and how to avoid the 10 mistakes professional options traders make, you can sign up for my free course. There's a link in the description below. Or you can sign up for my 5-step options trading success program. And that course also has a link in the description below.